Welcome back to the series where we change the element of characters from Genshin Impact. The way it works is we have two wheels, one with all the characters and one with all the elements. We spin the first wheel, get a character, spin the second wheel, get an element, then combine those two together and see what it looks like. Let's get started. It's been a little bit of time since we did one of the recolors, so I thought today we would go ahead and do another one. So obviously we need to get our first character, and this time it's going to be Aloy. Now as for the element that we will be turning Aloy into, it is going to be, I think Pyro might be interesting, but instead of that we're going to be getting Geo. So if you've seen any of the previous Genshin Impact color swaps or element swaps on the channel before, this one's gonna be a little different. Rather than just showing the whole time lapse and then explaining what I did after in a portion that most people probably don't care to listen to, I figured I would change up the format a bit. As you see me working on it in the background, I'm just going to go over and talk about my thought process and why I did what I did for these designs. So first up, we had a Geo Aloy. Now to be honest, her original color theme already could play towards Geo. There's a lot of browns in there, and then she has the orangish hair, so this was a bit of a challenge. To start out, I went through and replaced the silvers on her bow with more of a gold tone. This was partially to bring in a more Geo-based color theme, but also because gold is a more earthy tone than silver is. I did end up changing this color slightly later on because it was a bit too yellow, but these parts did remain gold. I then went through and colored over the red that was on the bow in more of a brown color, again to play towards the Geo theme, and also because I felt there were a lot of competing colors on this bow. I mean, genuinely, it looked like something Captain America might wield if he decided to pick up a bow. The whole thing is red, white, and blue, so instead of it looking like a toy, I wanted it to look a bit more refined, I guess? I can't think of the word I want to describe it. But then I went ahead and replaced the darker blues with a whitish color. This was to add a bit of a pop in terms of a lighter color on the bow and tie it into the rest of her design that I do without introducing too many conflicting colors. Moving on to her outfit now, we started by going over the blue tassels on her legs with a white. This was again to just keep a neutral color theme going, but it also was a callback to the game she is from, Horizon Zero Dawn. Within the game, there are a lot of snow-capped mountain peaks around the area, and while she might not be Cryo anymore, Geo still does play into rocks and mountains, so I wanted to try and pull from her home environment and introduce that within the color theme here. The bottom of her legs and her shoes are already a grayish, so adding the white here does play towards that. Then I went around and I made all of the browns on her base outfit a lot lighter. This again stayed within those earthy tones, but I think overall this gave her design a much softer appearance. Regarding her hair, I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do, so I started by just going over it with a soft white. I actually ended up really liking just that. It still kept a hint of the original color theme underneath, but it also played towards that almost goldish color that we added in the bow. After this, I went around and added in some more whites on places like her gauntlets, part of her outfit, and swapped a couple things over to gold just so we would have a bit more variety. I did end up making her eyes a reddish color because I felt that that just went with the overall design we had going so far, and it fits nicely within the browns and golds that we're using for a Geo color theme. After that, it was just a matter of cleaning everything up and getting the finished product. So after all of that, this is the Geo Aloy that I ended up with. Round 1 of recoloring is done, so now it's time to bring in our second character of the video, and this time it is going to be Kokomi. That could be a difficult one, we're gonna see. I really don't know what I would prefer as an element to change Kokomi into, so I'm okay with any of them, I guess. Let's just find out, and it's going to be Anemo. Okay. Interesting. Anemo Kokomi. Now, I think we can all envision a Kokomi like her normal design, but with some more greens and almost turquoise, or potentially some blues mixed in throughout the entire design, but that's not at all what I opted for. I feel like you're either going to love or hate what I ended up doing, but we'll find out. I didn't only want to use the stereotypical color for each element. I do end up doing that a lot, but here I had an idea that I wanted to try out. When you think of Anemo, obviously you think of wind. Now, Kokomi is from a nation that is based off of Japan. And looking at her design already, there's some pinks in there, lots of gradients, so I had the idea of what if I tried to base her new color theme off of a Sakura tree. Or for those of you who may not know what that is, it is a cherry blossom tree. So this would mean we wanted to incorporate lots of pinks, ranging from light pinks to darker pinks, a lot of white, and if possible, try to squeeze in that Anemo color that we see all the time in Genshin. I opted to start out by replacing her vision with the Anemo vision, so I didn't have to worry about it later on. I've come to learn that it's much easier to replace them at the beginning rather than go through, recolor everything, have tons of layers you're working with, and then trying to go back and replace the vision, so it's just easier. And I was using this Anemo symbol as a reference, but then I just decided why not just use it and incorporate it into the design? So that's exactly what I did. With the vision out of the way, I moved on to the main outfit here. I did try to incorporate lots of gradients, so I started out by just doing a ton of her outfit in pink and then going back later and adding in some darker pinks, working into those lighter ones. And there's not too much to say for this because that's what I did for most of her outfit. In the original design, it is mostly the same color, just with a lot of gradients and different hues and tints, so that's pretty much what I did, just with pink. Eventually, I moved on to the hair, and this is where I tried to mix it up a bit. I could have just done a white fading into pink, and I did try that and it looked really nice, but then it just looks like a Valentine's Day skin rather than a recolor to a new element. So, in her original design, you have this salmon colored hair that fades into the blues that you see in the rest of her design. Or purple-ish, it's a bluish purple, whichever one you want to call it, it's fine. So what I decided to do was color her hair with that Anemo color. It's like a bluish green teal color, and made that the base of her hair, fading into gradients of pink. After that, it was back to going around coloring everything in different shades of pink, and then the original design doesn't really have accent colors other than the main color and the outfit, but I decided to go in with the Anemo color again and just add a few accents here and there, so the whole thing is not entirely just pink. We do also have some more gold-ish accents from the original design, and sure, I could have left them that color. I did try going with a darker color like blacks or grays, but I didn't like it as much. I even tried the color from her choker around her neck, but I felt it was too distracting, and when you think of cherry blossom trees, it's usually pinks, maybe magenta, and a lot of white. So that's exactly what I ended up doing. I changed those darker colors to whites and went back and changed her choker to a whitish color as well. This just helped keep up with that cherry blossom theme we had going. And of course, to give it some element of wind, I went through and added some cherry blossom petals just going around the character, because after all, Anemo is based on wind, so it just made sense and it pulled together the whole theme we were working on. And yes, I know she still has a fish in her hand and the fish goes back to hydro, but to be honest, I didn't want to get rid of it. I think with the new color theme, it looks really nice. So sure, I could have changed that out for something to do with Anemo, I guess, but I didn't want to. I like how it looks. Again, some people might like this, others probably won't, but here is the finished design for Kokomi if she were Anemo. I know it's been a while since I did one of these element swaps. I have been wanting to get back to it, and I want to do it on stream at some point because I feel like that could just be a fun project. But with that being said, let me know down in the comments if you do like these new recolors and which one is your favorite of the two, Geo Aloy or Anemo Kokomi. I definitely tried to mix it up a little bit with the approach to Kokomi, and I do like how it turned out. Aloy's is a bit simpler, but to be honest, I still like it. So hopefully you guys did enjoy for those of you who do like watching these recolors, and let me know if you do like the new format with me describing my thought process as I go along. With all of that being said, I will see you guys next time.